All right, everybody, here's the video you've been waiting for. It's been more than a week in the making, but I'm here to deliver the goods as we enter week two of the new league year. It hasn't been a good new league year for the 49ers roster. When you look at, they came in with, say, weaknesses on the defensive line, and what's happened? They're even more weak on the defensive line. We knew that they'd be moving on from Javon Hargrave. However, Leonard Floyd isn't here, released. Malik Collins released. They haven't replaced anybody on the defensive line. They weren't able to get Joey Bosa. And then you can even stretch that out to the front seven, where they were hoping to retain Dre Greenlaw and hoping to get more than one half of football from him for next season. But the 49ers fought, from what we understand. They wanted him. At least they said all the right things, but he ends up signing with the Denver Broncos. So there's a lot of areas, and we've talked a lot about the areas where the 49ers have needs, have more needs now than they did a week ago. I'm here to deliver the goods on the one area of the team, and I'm talking about the roster where they've improved. Now, we could say, oh, they've improved the defensive coaching staff, bringing in Robert Saleh to replace Nick Sorensen, bringing in Gus Bradley to theoretically replace Brandon Staley. We could look at special teams, where Brant Boyer is the new special teams coordinator, taking over for Brian Schneider. But let's keep it right there with special teams. The special teams were horrendous last season, and I would say almost all of their 11 losses on the season, special teams had some tie-in to why they sustained those losses. It began early on, week two, and it just seemed to go through the entire season. So the 49ers, and this was something that I think we could all kind of figure out, that we knew they weren't going to spend much money to lure free agents to the team. They weren't going to be paying top dollar to bring in a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman. I mean, just look around the league at the dollar amounts that it's taken for players to go with other teams, or I should say, the dollar amounts is taken for teams to lure outside free agents. But special teams is an area where it doesn't take a huge financial commitment, and you can make a significant upgrade in a very short period of time. So on Monday night, the 49ers reached contract terms for a 2-year deal with Saran Neal. He's a 7-year pro. He was an unrestricted free agent, played 6 seasons, I'm sorry, with the Bills, and then last year with the Dolphins. So he is the latest guy that the 49ers have brought in solely for special teams. And I shouldn't say solely. In the case of Saran Neal, yes, solely for special teams. 114 games in his NFL career, only one start. Now, some of the other guys I'll mention probably have a little bit more position flexibility. They can serve as a backup, a spot starter, but their main role will be special teams. So Brant Boyer coming in from the Jets, very clearly, his duty since coming to the 49ers was to figure out who available out there could the 49ers sign, bring in, and would provide an immediate upgrade on special teams to help out in the kicking game. So that's obviously, it's kick coverage, kickoff return, punt coverage, punt return, and then kicking field goals and field goal defense. I know what you're saying. Yes, Jake Moody still on the team. Why, you would ask? Well, I'll go back to what John Lane said. And again, not right or wrong, it's what he said. He felt like the 49ers did Jake Moody no favors whatsoever by rushing him back in before the high ankle sprain, which, by the way, came on a kickoff coverage when the 49ers kick coverage was so bad that it got to Jake Moody and he sustained a high ankle sprain. And then a week later, once again, the kick coverage so bad that it was Matthew Wright, the kicker, who had to stick his shoulder in there, and he got injured and never kicked for the 49ers again, and has since found employment elsewhere in the NFL. So the 49ers are sticking by Jake Moody, at least for now. Right now, there's been no indication that they're going to be bringing in competition for him. You all have your opinions. You can leave your opinions down below. But what I'm going to focus in on this time is just what the 49ers have done to help their special teams. And so Saran Neal is somebody that provides an immediate upgrade, someone who makes his living on special teams. Last year with the Dolphins, played 84% of the Dolphins special team snaps. So he will have a role in that regard. Before Saran Neal, the 49ers also added Luke Gifford last week, unrestricted free agent from the Titans. He's been in the league 6 years, four with Dallas, two with Tennessee. He's only started 5 games in his career while appearing in 73 games. And he, like Neal, is up there in that 80% range as far as taking part in special team snaps. So, two guys right there who will be core special teams players. How about a third? The third is Richie Grant, a safety. He entered the league as a second round draft pick of the Falcons and actually started a lot of games. He started 33 games, second and third seasons in the league. He played a lot of football. Last year, only one start for the Falcons. He leaves as a free agent, signs with the 49ers. Guess what? Last year with Atlanta, he was up there right around 80%. 78% of the Falcons special team snaps, Richie Grant was on the field. And then, so those are three guys, three core guys who are going to be out there pretty much all the time. And then a couple other guys. I'll mention three other guys that they bring in for special teams, at least to help out. Tight end Luke Farrell. They paid him good money, $20 million over 3 years. He's played 66 games for the Jaguars, who he played all 4 seasons with, 20 starts. He comes in as the number 2 tight end with George Kittle. His role probably not as significant as I would have thought a week ago when they released Kyle Juszczyk, bring in Luke Farrell. So Juszczyk is back. 49ers will still be a 21 base personnel team on offense, two backs, one tight end. But Luke Farrell, a lot of two tight end sets. He's a blocker. He also can play special teams. He's in that 25 to 35% range as far as being on kickoff coverage, kickoff return, all that stuff. So about that's probably where he's going to fit in from day one in that 25%, 25 to 35% range. Also, Trey Brown was a unrestricted free agent the 49ers signed from Seattle. He's a cornerback, so he can play a lot of cornerback, and he had 13 starts in his career with Seattle. That's 39 games. And last year, he was up to 28%, or in his career, he's been up to 28% on special teams. So he's going to come in with the idea of competing to be the number 3 cornerback. 49ers will add some people. I'm sure there will be some competition. Darrell Luter comes to mind as somebody who could look for that role as well to play, be the third cornerback. But Trey Brown, somebody who wants to figure out a role, wants to earn a role on the defense. But regardless, if he makes the team, he'll be out there for about a quarter or more of the snaps on special teams. And then the other guy that the 49ers brought in, Jason Pinnock. He's an unrestricted free agent from the Giants. A lot of starts the last 2 years, 32 starts over the past 2 seasons with the Giants. I'm not saying he's coming in to be a starter, no questions asked, but does he have an opportunity to start? Absolutely. Now it's up to Jair Brown to take that next step and win a starting spot alongside Malik Mustafa. Also, it's important that Malik Mustafa continue to get better and capitalizes on ending the season strong last year and carry that momentum over to a starting role. So obviously 49ers do have a starting spot available in the safety position compared to last season when Talanoa Hufanga, when he was healthy, he was a starter. So now the 49ers will be looking to fill that other spot. Could they use it on a draft pick? I suppose so. But between Jason Pinnock and Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa, you'd think they'd be set there, or at least feel good enough that that spot can carry on and they'll be just fine. Anyway, back to Pinnock. he played a lot of special teams in his first 3 seasons in the NFL before transitioning basically solely to, a defensive guy who'd play every snap. So Pinnock has a history in special teams. He joins this group with Trey Brown, with Luke Farrell, with Richie Grant, Luke Gifford, and Saran Neal to give the 49ers an upgrade, a very obvious upgrade on special teams. They sucked last year on special teams, if we're going to be honest. They had a lot of, flux because they had so many injuries. Some of the guys who were counted upon to be core special teams players ended up having to take on more significant roles on defense. So now the 49ers bring in a handful of guys who their job is to come to the 49ers, fit into Brant Boyer's system of special teams, and help that unit go from being one of the worst in the league to at least a unit that doesn't kill them on a weekly basis. So that's the quick rundown on one area, maybe the area the 49ers have improved this offseason. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, and also want to hear your comments or read your comments down below.